All right, Marty, here we are hanging out, Free Agent Frenzy Lounge. I love it here. Tons of vibes. And let's talk about the Maple Leafs, all right? Yeah. So Max Domi's coming back. Timothy Liljegren's coming back. Tyler Bertuzzi, we believe, is on the way out. We think Tanev's coming in. Chris Tanev's coming in. Craig Berube's here now. Is that the change you were expecting?
That's the big one. I think that we all expected big changes for the Leafs. And they have some roster limitations, right? There are all these no movement clause, and you can't just make big trades happen. And but Craig Berube is the big change. Can he put a stamp on this team, a different spin, right? Can they be defensively responsible and, everything that he's done as a coach? So that's the biggest thing because, yeah, you're right. Like, everybody looks to be the same people coming back in the same
naturally, there's going to be
room.
turnover every year anyway. The Cup champs are going to turn over. The worst team in the league is going to turn
Walk
over.
down the street in Toronto
turnover.
and say, hey, does this team picture look like this team picture?
It's going to be very similar.
It's very similar,
very
right?
Similar.
The same people sit in the same seat. But it's a new coach. That could look different for me. The big question is in net, right? I think that the last few years, you go Freddie Anderson, you go Jack Campbell, you go Ilya Samsonov, like none of those either signing or whatever trades have materialized to you found a goalie. You have Joe Woll, but
they're banking on him, and that to me is a pretty substantial gamble. I mean, I think
he has
like
a year
him.
left.
I like him,
but
he's got to stay healthy.
He's got the injuries, and has he been able to prove that he can take that next level? Because he's not been healthy. He
39 starts in the NHL.
Yeah, no, that's not
even
enough
50 to really
with
know
playoffs
anyway.
or whatever. That's not enough. He has a year left. But if they're willing to go in and say, hey, we're going to give you an extension before the year's over, to me, that's a tough one to go. Like, get somebody in that can really help along, maybe be a 1A, 1B type thing, but don't put all your chips in the Joe Woll just yet, because you've done that before and it hasn't worked.
Yeah, and when you talk about change, I think in the market, how the fan base is going to respond, it comes down to the core four. I think if you add Morgan Riley to that, the core five, and as of now, it doesn't look like that's going to change. And that's what's significant here. That's what I think we're talking about here in terms of turning over the supporting cast. That has happened countless times. Like in 8 years of Matthews and Marner and Nylander and Riley, in the last 6 with Tavares, everything else has changed. The coach has changed. The GM has changed. All the other wingers, all the other centers, all the other defensemen, all the other goalies, they've all come and gone. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's those 5 players. Can Craig Berube, who you speak of highly, I think we all do, I like the hiring, can he find a way to get those 5 guys to elevate in the biggest moments because they're offensively potent? They're a great offensive team, yet what's the reputation in the playoffs?
They can't perform.
They don't score. They don't perform and they don't score. How's that going to change?
Well, number one, you have to sit in a regular season if there is going to be a change. And I don't think it's about scoring goals as much as are you playing hard? Are you competing? Because you can tell, you'll fall in love with a player that's competing in the playoffs, even if there's not as much of the production side, but there's a lot of little things that get done. And we haven't seen that. But I'll tell you this. You talk about with people around the league, and you say, hey, Mitch Marner. I mean, it looks like people want him out of Toronto. Like, he was terrible in the playoffs this year. He still has more playoff points than any of the other guys, right?
Right.
Like, he's been, and everybody around the league say, we'll
great
take Mitch Marner. We'll
He's
take
a great
him.
player.
He's killing penalties, can be responsible, puts the production out there, offensive production.
Still in his prime, too, not over the hill.
They have to perform when it matters. They've done it over 82 games. They have to perform when it matters. But again, it's just so many teams have not won playoff series. Good teams that still not won playoff series. So Toronto's in the same boat.
And as of now, it looks like we're going to go into a 9th season. Riley, Marner, Nylander, Matthews having that opportunity, a 7th season with Tavares joining them. Berube's here. Domi's back. Liljegren's back. Tanev likely here. There will be other players, but we'll see what the Leafs do from here.